Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur with your host, Steve Kidd, third-generation minister and 30-year business coach. Listen in as amazing, world-changing authors, speakers, and coaches share their struggles and victories. And hear from best-selling authors' insight into how you too can live your life as a thriving entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur. Thanks for being with me here today. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful to have you together on this ride again today as we talk about winning in loss. Now that seems totally counterproductive and counterintuitive, doesn't it? That we could see the win in the loss. But some of you that know me, you know that I tend to be the person that not only finds a silver lining in the clouds, but often finds that there were never any clouds. It was just silver covered in cotton candy. You see, there is most definitely a win, even in the greatest of losses. But we have to be open to it. We have to be willing to see the win in the midst of the most horrible of losses. You know, there's the easy way, of course, of going through and living our life, and that's just allowing circumstances to dictate where we go, to react to everything that happens. And we've talked about that on the show before, about the difference between responding and reacting. You see, when you respond, you take a beat, you take a minute, you decide how you're going to, deal with things, to, if you will, react. When we react, we just purely and simply do whatever the first thing that comes to us is. And many of us have fallen into the trap of just kind of allowing life to blow us around back and forth, driven on the waves, the sands of time, if you will, and never really truly learned how to respond. Or maybe just for a time, we're in a space where we just react back and forth, and we have to get back to responding. Loss, and I never want to diminish what you may be going through, the losses of other people. Loss is tough. Grieving is such a process. I remember, it's been a lot of years ago now, probably 10 years ago now, that I found out my best friend Ron had passed away. And Ron was that kind of friend. I hope you've had at least one friend like that. Ron was that kind of friend that it didn't matter if we talked for a couple of years. The minute we were together, the minute we even picked up the phone and were talking to each other, we were instantly still brothers. We were connected on a level so much deeper than DNA. And I'll never forget how gut-wrenching it was the day that his widow called me and told me that he had passed away, and that in going through his stuff, she had found my phone number and wanted to call and let me know. And there are times even now, he was the lead guitar player in our band, and, we made a lot of really great music together. And even still, when I'm listening to the radio or watching something on TV, and I hear a really good lead guitar player, or, a really popular guitar solo from an 80s song, I tear up a little bit. Grieving is a process like that. There are some hurts that happen in our lives, and I'm sure you've been through them too, where just the right thing that gets said, or a smell, or a feeling, and we can be right back there to when that person hurt us so deeply. Now, we can get to the place where we forgive. We can get to the place where we're not stuck in grief. We can move on. It's very possible, and sometimes there's some real power in that. But grieving is one of those kind of things whether it be the loss of someone or a hurt that someone did. Grieving is one of those kind of things that kind of is tricky, and it can play in and out of our lives. But there are some strategies that even in the worst, most difficult of griefs, that we can win. We can win in what the world would see as the biggest of losses. I saw the greatest commercial. It might have even been during the Super Bowl. There weren't a lot of good commercials during the Super Bowl. This one was really inspiring. And it was basically showing the Olympic swimmer that, basically she only has, she has no legs below her knees, and the medals that she's won and all that. And they are talking about, and I might even tear up just, telling you about it. They were talking about the call that her adopted mom got, explaining that, they have a baby for you, but here's all the difficulties the baby had, and the baby's going to have, both legs amputated below the knee, and she will never, and all those things. And such a good commercial. The mom says, but she'll get a lot of love. And out of the deepest of losses, now, on both ends, here's this little baby that has to have amputations. And on the other end, here's this person who has gone to adoption to give the love that they have to give to a child. And they've been waiting, and they finally get the call. And it's not exactly the dream that we have. And yet, it's in those moments often that the greatest of opportunities rise up to meet us. Some of the biggest challenges in my own life, and probably in yours too, have come out of some of the most difficult, if not shattering events in our life. Someone says something or does something, and our lives, by no choice of our own, are forever altered. We find ourselves laying on the ground, shattered, broken, sobbing, that kind of cry that you feel like when you're done crying, there will be no more of you left, that the tears will flow out of you until you are literally emptied out from the inside, and you will be over, you will be done. And yet, even out of those kind of circumstances, some really amazing things can happen. Even out of that shattered, laying broken on the floor condition, God is there to take you by the hand and help you back up, to put you back together, and to help you see that in that. And I'm not saying that he did it to you to pick on you, that he's a bully with a magnifying glass burning off your feelers, but just simply that there is nothing that comes across you, that there isn't already a means to make opportunity out of it, to make something wonderfully delicious, lemonade out of lemons. Sometimes we find ourselves feeling shattered. The loss is so great, and it feels like it's impossible to ever get back to even just good, let alone to win. And for some of you, when I talk about winning and loss, you're probably not even at a place yet where you really even feel like living in the loss is going to be enough. But today I have a couple of really great authors that I'm going to bring to you, and I want to share them with you and help you see the secrets to winning in loss, to learn how in the worst of all circumstances you can thrive. You can learn, you can grow, you can be even greater than you ever dreamt possible. Not because I want you to go through that thing, but since you did, let's learn the secret of winning in loss as we go through a powerful episode today of Thriving Entrepreneur. Are you ready for an amazingly wonderful trip? Well, then let's go together. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call, yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven, it's guaranteed, it's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. Let's see now if we can learn some secrets on winning in loss. A lot of times we have great, grievous things that injure us deeply emotionally, but there is a place of victory even in those darkest, deepest of wounds. So let's talk to this international best-selling author and see if we can get some insight into how we can, even when injured by somebody else emotionally, we can learn how to win in loss. Join me in welcoming Julie Edgington. Hey, Julie, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do in the world.
Well, I am author of Preacher's Little Secret. I'm also a mother to 6 and grandmother to 2. I just really enjoy trying to figure out how to change limiting beliefs and working with psychology and just trying to figure myself out. And I figured if I want to figure myself out, there's probably other people out there too that want to figure things out and move forward in life. And that's kind of what I do.
Preacher's Little Secret, book 1 in the Everything for a Reason series. Tell us a little bit of the backstory of where the book comes from.
Well, I've always been a writer. Since I learned how to write, I was writing down what was happening around me. So at one point, I started to put together what I had written throughout my life. And I wanted to start with what I thought was the beginning, which of course would be my parents. And I never knew my father growing up. I actually had thought that he had passed away before I was born. And then my mother had passed away when I was 11 years old. So after she died, I was just kind of curious about, why didn't I really know anything about my father? And in my 20s, I decided to explore that and find him. And I found out he was alive and he was actually a preacher. And I went to meet him, and basically he rejected me and didn't want anything to do with me, which left me feeling abandoned and rejected. And it caused a lot of issues in my life. Even as an adult, it caused issues, just trying to deal with not being good enough and, a lot of feelings that came along with that. So I kind of worked through that and learned how to change my perspective to not only get through it, but benefit from what happened.
So if you could go back and talk to the 11-year-old or right in there version of yourself. What did you learn going through that process of being rejected by your birth father and so on that you wish you would have known before you even started into it?
Well, I think I probably would have prepared myself more for that rejection. Um, you have like this idealistic thought or image of what's going to happen when you meet your father. You think that, he's going to want you. He's going to be excited about you, and you've you kind of build up this fairy tale world in your mind before you meet somebody like that. And I wish I would have prepared myself more for the rejection or the possibility of it. I think I thought about it a little bit, but then I would always say, well, no way. Why wouldn't anybody want me around? I'm wonderful. I'm great. Why wouldn't you want me? So it just wasn't a possibility to me that that would happen. And then I think because I wasn't prepared for that, it was even more crushing to me when I met him.
That makes total sense. So the series is called Everything for a Reason. And I know it took you a while to get to why there could possibly be a reason for what you went through. But looking back now, what was the reason?
I think there was many different reasons, but there was probably a main reason. There is a main reason why that had to happen to me. I needed to be a certain type of person later on in life. When I would have my fourth child, he was born with a birth defect and had open heart surgery when he was 8 days old. Um, we weren't expecting him to make it. And I used what I learned from my father as kind of motivation to make sure that I wasn't that type of parent, that I never made any of my children feel rejected. And I wanted to be there with my son and help him through this and make sure that he was okay. I learned what I didn't want to be from my dad, and I'm very grateful for that. Had I not had that experience, maybe I wouldn't have been as strong, and maybe I wouldn't have known rejection. And, you know, I think it definitely helped me through what I had to go through with my son.
That's a really interesting perspective. So, learning to manifest the future we want out of the present that we don't want, what are some keys to being able to do that?
The first thing you need to do to manifest anything is to see it as a possibility, I think. And you have to get out of your head instead of creating all this bad stuff like more rejection and, you know, more of any bad feeling. You want to get out of that and you want to get this different perspective. You know, what else could my dad been trying to teach me through this? And instead of saying, well, this happened to me and, you know, this is horrible, I make believe and say, well, you know, there is a reason for this. I asked my father to come here and be this kind of dad to me so that I could learn these lessons. And that way I take control over it. You know, if I have control over the situation and I know that it happened because I asked for it to happen and that there were lessons to be learned out of it, then I don't live in that bad feeling anymore. And I can move on to manifest the good things that I want.
I get that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, there's that moment of the trauma, though. How do we move ourselves from the hurt to a place where we can begin to regroup and work on where we want to go from there?
Well, I think that everybody's trying to get out of the trauma as fast as they can without hurting at all or as little as possible. And I don't think that that's always the right way to go about it. I think that being in the situation and learning your lesson from what's happened is probably the fastest way to get to where you're feeling good about it, or at least feeling like it's over and you can move on from it. Um, Sad to me is just a feeling, or trauma to me is just an experience. And for me, I have to allow myself to have the trauma, have the experience, and be in it until I feel like I'm bored of it almost. When I'm bored of it, I know it's over and I can move on.
You've used the phrase a couple of times, and I'd like to dive a little deeper into it. You talk about being in the trauma. So how do you be in the trauma without, without hurting yourself? You know what I'm saying? How do you just be in that moment of the trauma that you're in?
Yeah. I think it's remembering that everything happens for a reason. Um, and even though we don't see the reason right at that moment, we can either make one up or just have faith in knowing that everything's happening for a reason, and allowing yourself to go through the trauma, you know, is basically having faith that it's happening and it needs to happen, and it's going to eventually be okay. And you are essentially in the moment, you're okay. As long as you aren't dead, you're okay. You're still okay.
I like that. So let's move into teacher mode. Let's teach people who find themselves in the midst of the trauma what is something they could do right now, immediately, actively, to be okay in the trauma that they're in and yet still move forward in life.
I think the number one thing that I do is write. Whether it's writing your own story, writing what your feelings are, making up a scenario like I did with my dad, and like I've done in other stories that I have, maybe like what I did, I said, okay, before I came to this earth, I met this man and he said he's my father. And, we have a conversation, and this is why I asked him to be this kind of father to me. And I think the more you write, the more it kind of eases the pain or eases the trauma, because you're getting it out.
That makes sense. So if a person needed to go deeper with you, do you help people going through trauma and things like that? How can a person work with you?
I have a Facebook page, at Preacher's Little Secret on Facebook. You can find me there. I also have a website that I'm building. It's not quite up yet, but eventually I'll have the website up and people can get a hold of me there too. And the website I'll put on the Facebook page.
Perfect. And so they can just find you, Julie Edgington, as the Facebook page, or is there a name to the page?
It's at Preacher's Little, I can't say it, Secret. Preacher's LIL Secret.
Perfect. And that's preachers with an apostrophe too. So PREACHER apostrophe S LI. Is there apostrophe in the Lil in the Facebook group?
I don't know if there is any apostrophes.
Okay. So Preacher's Little Secret. Well, Julie, the book, Preacher's Little Secret, Everything for a Reason, Book 1 series by Julie Edgington. It's available on Amazon. I encourage people to get it today. Julie, thanks so much for spending some time with us on the show here today.
Thank you. I enjoyed myself.
I hope for you too, in the times that people have treated you in a way that you didn't deserve, those grievous wounds that they've done against you emotionally, that you learned some insights and that you now can begin to see hope and possibility and a win for yourself even in that most egregious of losses. We're going to take another commercial break, and then we'll be right back here on Thriving Entrepreneur.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. Yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to the Thriving Entrepreneur today as we talk about winning in loss. In the last segment, we were talking about how to overcome when we are emotionally or even physically wounded by another person. Now let's move into the grieving process. Those wounds from the loss of someone special to us, the things that we're grieving over, and let's see how we can discover the win even in that kind of loss. We've got another great international best-selling author here for you to help us be able to discover the secret on how to win in the loss, even a loss like grief. All right, everybody, here we are today announcing an exciting book coming out. I'm so glad that you're here with us. I hope you'll jump on live or on the replay. We are announcing the launch, the marketing launch for The Borrowed Daughter, A Journey Beyond the Edge of Life. And I have the author, Sana Brauner, here with me to be able to talk about the book. I'm so excited about this. So join me in welcoming Sana Brauner. Hey, Sana, how you doing today?
Thank you. I'm really great. I'm excited. It's like, wow, and I am thankful, to have the opportunity to speak about the message, the book, and just to, interact.
Absolutely. So tell us first a little bit about you, and just who you are in the world.
Okay. So here I am. My name is Sana Brauner. I'm living in Vienna, and that's my hometown. I was actually like around 20 when I started to join the media, business as an editor and just writing first. With 28, I became a chief editor of a huge magazine with 1,300,000 samples here in Austria. And the point was I was just really used to work a lot, for me it was like, and that was a bit of my problem because I was working a lot and I was actually afterwards, I realized that I compared my value, how much I work also with my self-value at some point. And so I was, and, with 28, 30 around, I was questioning, where I'm going to more, be towards my career, even more, what I'm going to, where I'm heading, and, or going to create a family, because I was already with my, that time husband for almost, 8 years together. And so around 30, I got my first son. And 2.5 years later, our daughter arrived. And so here I am, working and expanding even more, becoming in business-wise, and on the other side, expanding my family, it's like also. And so, yes, and so I was just like, rolling and doing and working and towards, towards the point when I myself, did not realize there is a bit of a stop. I need just some rest for something. And yeah, well, then it happens that life did put me on stop. This was actually my story where it begins, the other side of entering a different world.
Oh, yeah. So you had an event that happened to you that many people will never have happen to us. Tell us a little bit about what you went through.
Well, it was this, for Christmas, we always, it's really cold here in Vienna, like in many places here in Europe. And it's the time when we can, take some holiday, and we are always somewhere where it's sunny, where it's hot, where it's like really, to enjoy and to be on the beach and just like rest. And so this was we have been like arrived in Thailand around the December 20th, and it was actually, we are speaking right now about December the 26th, around 10 o'clock in the morning, when we are just, having a nice breakfast, long breakfast, late breakfast, and enjoying our time together. It's the family. It's like my husband, the son, the daughter. The son is Alexander. Daughter's name is Alexandra Anita. And my mom, my sister, her son, and friends with us, And, just there we are, sitting, enjoying. And I'm like, okay, I go, because some of us, went already to the room back. Some was just like, wanting to go just because the restaurant, to explain it, was actually on the beach, So to change, you had to go to the room, and it was, a 10 minutes walk. It was a very huge hotel complex. It had at that time the biggest swimming pool in Asia. It was like, I don't know if people can imagine when it's like in Venice, you have this like swimming pool where you go from one side of the hotel complex under bridges to the other side, and it's like, really a very, very beautiful, huge water hotel complex. And our room was at that time located in a way that you could just step from the room in the water. So this was a little bit, so you just step in there and you can swim actually front to the beach or something like so, just to get an idea how it was actually. So my mom, my sister, and the little one, decided they will stay at the restaurant, and I went, Helmut, my husband at that time, we separated, we divorced, but we are still good friends. That's why I'm saying like that time. So let's call him Helmut, It's the father of Alexandra and Anita. He went with Alexander and his cousin, and they went swimming in the pool somehow. And I am coming back from the breakfast, entering the room, going through the room to the balcony, to the, where is actually the pool in front of me. And I'm saying, hey, let's just take our beach stuff and go and meet you the other at the beach. But it was not that I could just really, I was speaking, but at the same time, I'm realizing water. I'm realizing it's not just water, it's just massive water without, you just don't know where and how, and it's just coming, and it was, it brought, I just went, because I was actually in the door between out and inside of the room. So the water just came, and, so now I'm explaining something, what happens in a time, so I'm expanding time, I'm really expanding time, because at that moment when the water came, you just, I'm in a room, but the wave was 12 meter high, so it's a 3-story high wave. It's not just like there is some water, it's just like everything is underwater. So the room, it was a second, the room was full with water. And I'm explaining in the book, because this is what's like, how I gave my whole story a meaning and actually help, the point is like, I am there in the water. There is, at some point, you are in a room underwater. In the next moment, everything broke, you are still underwater, but you're not anymore in the room. You're outside, but you're still underwater. And you know exactly, you're just in this washing machine. You don't know where is up, where is down, where is like you want to come on the surface, and you paddle and something and you do like, everything to come out of the water. No way, And at some point, I was just, saying to myself, that's the way how you live from this world. So, because there was no more power, no more breath, nothing, And just to imagine, I was that, and okay, let's finish here. I was, at that moment when I decided I'm going to give up, from this whole noise where I was and trying and fighting and, being pushed and being like, no idea what's happening, where I am, how I'm going to get out of this situation. It was just like, I just, like somebody pressed the button stop, and here I am in a total different space, a space where it's silent. It's like just silence. It's just like nothing to hear. Nothing. And it's peaceful. And in the next moment, I hear this, it's just really, I hear how Sana's voice is asking this other Sana, like this one who is struggling with life, and this one who is just in peace with everything, is like, Sana, do you want to live? And there is a moment of silence, but then I hear again Sana's voice. She says, yes, I do. And here I have again, somebody pressed the button and noise. I'm struggling with my life. I'm just like, fighting. Where is up? Where is down? How I'm getting, And then comes the moment when I just like, getting the first breath, and I'm like looking around myself, and I'm like half a mile out of the hotel. It's just looking back, it's back, and I'm heading towards the forest, and it's still everything water. And I'm grabbing, the little side mirror of a car, a van, who is just coming with the, stream, with the water, and I'm holding there myself, and just like, wow. And I was like, and the interesting thing is, Steve, it was like, here I am getting my first breath, but the first word I'm saying is, thank you. And I'm like wondering myself, like, what for? Because it's like, I was thinking, because I never heard about the word tsunami before. I was thinking the whole world is underwater. Because how can it be that we here, it was just sunny beach. You're on holiday. You have, in this 5-star hotel, and it's like, resting, and it's like, and it's not a minute, and your whole life changed. And it's not that I went through this, but what I had to realize, this was like 10:30, like, let's jump like through now, it's like at around 11, I'm finding some of the family, but I'm having to realize, some hours later, that my mom is missing and the little daughter. So we are, and this is actually what happened that morning. Then what happened, later on is just when you go through a really extreme, very extreme situation like this, is like, okay, what are you going to hold on? And the interesting thing for me, so now I'm like looking from the Sana so many years later, how I actually behaved that time and what helped me to be in a really extreme situation and yet to experience that if you don't fall in this place where you feel, oh, it happened to me, instead of like, my mind is not going to help me now. Nobody outside is going to help me now, because the pain I'm feeling inside is so extreme. Like, it's just like, it's like there is no word, that, because it's like, not that the body is under pain. The body was under pain. I was hurt. I was damaged, and everything, was like, but the point is like the pain is so massive that because you have all these questions, because I knew my mother passed away at the same time when I was like coming on the water and up of the water, and I had a tree where I was holding on after the car, went down under the water, and I had to let it go, I knew, I got the message that my mom, she just, perished. She chose to go. And for the little one, I had this message where right now you are not going to do anything for her because you have to take care of yourself, but it's going to be taken care of her. And I kind of saw some pictures, from her, and this comparing to the other pictures, which I saw, my mom leaving this her body and planet and everything. And so it's like, the thing is like, well, I instantly, at that moment, everything, when I came out of this world, and I instantly had kind of two lives, going with me in a way of like, always with the voice that connected to this deeper, intelligence, to this deeper wisdom, to the source of yourself, of this invisible part, of this really emotional, and guided the other one who was in the body what to do next, what step next, how to behave, what to say, what to do, how to act, It's like, because it was like, I was just there because we stayed there for a while, for some days, for a week, for some weeks. We came back to look after her again, to search, to look. It was like for several months, it was like for a while, until I had to say, to come to one point to say, I have to let go. It's a moment where you, but this was kind of, because waking up every day, realizing, wow, where I am, what kind of world, where is my child, what is happening with her, who is with her, is she alive, is she not, you are never sure, because you are just like, just like ping, ping, you're, everything is like your emotion, your emotions are on roller coaster, your mind is on roller coaster. It's just because you can't find so easily peace, and that's what you can't also, that's what I want to say also, like, to everybody. It's like, when it happens, you have to not to suppress the emotions, you have to, I was crying. I see myself, on the side of the highway where I was looking, the cars, and I'm like, because you have all these pickups, and I'm standing there on the street, and I'm just crying, and I can feel, because the sun is so burning, so hot and everything, that I have I get a salty crust on my whole face. And so it's like, but there is this part of you who still has to function at some point. And so you have to allow yourself that to be, you are in pain. You're just in pain, but not to lose yourself in pain. And it's just to be an observer and to just, always look for the message behind this, What is the message behind? Because it's, I'm a strong believer. I'm not a believer in religion, but I'm a strong believer that there is always a meaning, no matter what happens, And that time I was just like, the first help for me was like connect to this part of you, of your, source of your, because it's instant there. You don't have to call, don't have to go somewhere, you don't have to, change whatever. It's just there, and just communicate. I was a walking, talking prayer. I was just accept, I surrender, I ask for help, and I thank for help. I was just like inside myself, even it was silence, but it was like, I accept, I surrender, I like, because I need help. I don't know what to do otherwise, It's like, because I still, coming home, I was working, at some point. Right. Producing newspaper. I was, chief editor of a magazine that time.
It's such an amazing story, and there's so much more for people. And afterwards, you unpack for them. How do you rise above circumstances like that? What can you learn from the most devastating of circumstances? The book is called The Borrowed Daughter, A Journey Beyond the Edge of Life. It's an amazing book. You really, really got to get it. Sana, I am so excited for the marketing launch we're doing today and all the things coming with your book. And anybody that wants to continue posting on this thread, we'll both be here all day, talking about the book. And I hope that you all will go and get it. Thanks so much for spending some time with us here on Alive today.
Thank you too, to give me the possibility to speak about the message which I'm carrying and why I wrote the book, because I gave my story a meaning, and I actually encourage everybody, because all of us have our story. It's just a different topic, but it's where you get shaked, where the bottom, it gets pulled away and there's nothing to hold on. All of us have this, and this book is like, helps to understand, that everything your story too has a meaning, and it would be nice and it would be great if everybody can give their story a meaning. That's what's actually the message of the book.
That was so much fun. We got to do that as a Facebook live into YouTube, live into Twitter, and then we took this recording and used it for the radio show. Fun way to do things. I may do that a lot more with my authors. We had a lot of fun with that launch. Just became an international bestseller between yesterday and today. So really, really exciting stuff. And I hope that in that you learn some secrets to overcoming, to winning in loss, even the deepest, most painful type of losses, where grieving is, of course, going to happen, where you can learn and grow and thrive and be an overcomer. We're going to take one more quick commercial break here, and then we'll be right back with some ending remarks here on Thriving Entrepreneur. Don't go away.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Schedule a talk with Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. Yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. Welcome back. Thanks so much for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. I'm so glad to have you here with me. I just really enjoyed bringing these authors to you. It's so amazing and incredible to be able to really dive into something like hurt and grief and loss and be able to see in them that there is a win. There is opportunity. There is silver linings to your clouds. And maybe as you begin to clear your blurry eyes, you will see all of the opportunity and the possibility. That doesn't mean that the hurts don't hurt. That doesn't mean that the grieving isn't real. But it does mean that there is very likely, very possible, if you're open to it, something that can be manifested into your life that will come through that circumstance. I'm not one of those kind of people that believes that, God actually dumps stuff like that on us to be mean to us. You only have to go through that and then you'll be... I don't think it works that way. But I do think that in the midst of stuff, God is always trying to lead us back to better, best, through the process of things that come and stuff that we go through, that He's there leading and guiding us and going, okay, this horrible thing happened, but here's the truth. Now here's opportunity for you that you would have never had elsewise. Not that I wanted you to go through it, but since you did, what the devil intended for evil, we're going to turn into even more good, make things even better. I always think of the story of Joseph. First his brothers sell him into slavery and tell his dad that he got killed. And he's there working as a slave, and he, because of the deep committed values he has and the hard work ethic, he rises to the top of Potiphar's house. And then, Potiphar's wife, when he won't sleep with his boss's wife, she tells him he did anyway, and he gets thrown in jail. And he spends years in jail, and then the two guys come in, the cup bearer and the baker for the king. And he interprets their dreams and oh, that's so amazing. And it happens exactly as he said it would. And they forget him. Well, the one guy does. The other guy gets killed. That's a whole different story. It's actually part of that story. And he's stuck, still in jail. But even in the jail, he has risen to be the, right-hand man to the jailer. Given all kinds of authority and responsibility, it's just he can't leave the jail. He thrives even where he is. And possibility arises in the worst of all situations. And then finally, when the world needs exactly who he is, his name comes to mind. and he rises to second in command, second to only Pharaoh himself, and is able to save his entire family, his entire bloodline. And the whole entire nation of Israel rises up out of being sold into slavery, thrown into jail, forgotten by the very people that he's helped. That's winning in loss. We can't sometimes, unfortunately, stop the losses. We can't keep ourselves from having things happen to us. People pass. People are cruel sometimes, and they leave grievous wounds, gaping holes within us that will be part of who we are for the rest of our lives. They just are. But they don't define us. They don't, limit us. If anything, they become feathers in our wings to allow us to soar and fly even higher because of the very thing that was meant for evil. I really hope you can see that in the stories that our international best-selling authors shared with you, in that story of Joseph in the Bible, and so many other things in your own life, and that you can begin winning even at loss, that you can see yourself as the victor that you were born and intended to be. It's not about how many times you fall down. I heard the quote from Vince Lombardi. I mentioned earlier I was watching the Super Bowl, right? It's not if you get knocked down 8 times. It's about, can you get up the 9th? That's the victor. That's the real winning attitude. No matter how many times you get knocked down, it's about getting up one more time. It's about turning those things that could so easily have buried you into stepping stones to get you across the impassable rivers in life and over to the other side where we need you so much, where all that you are, all that you do shines so brightly and makes such a hugely incredible difference in the world just by you being you. Now, some of the words I just used, though, are a little bit overwhelming. They're a little bit maybe too much to take on when we start talking about purpose and changing the world and making a huge difference. So let me just put it to you real simply. All we need to do is just maximize today. To be the best version of ourselves where we are today. Where we're planted, to grow there, to be even more and better. But just maximizing today. Be the best you that you can be today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Its joys and, yes, its struggles. And you will still win even in your losses, because you are uniquely brilliant. You were created for a purpose. And the world needs you. Thank you for showing up in this world as the who that you are. Until we're together again next time, I hope you're happy, safe, warm, and loved, and that you have an amazingly great week.
Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. If you want to get your question answered, send an email to questions@wehelpyouthrive.com. We look forward to you joining us again next time.
If you're an author who's on a mission, stand out with your brand out. Check this out, guys. Yep, everything's marketing, and marketing is everything. Your existing book can become a best-selling book, or even, hey, like mine, a #1 international best-selling book in 5 days. Listen, if your business isn't known by everybody, it's obscurity, and that's death, right? The same thing is true for your book. If you're not happy with the way your book is performing, you got that far and then it just fell off the face of the planet kind of feeling, go to yourbestsellertoday.com, schedule a talk with Steve, Steve. It's risk-free, it's guaranteed, it's proven. We've done it thousands of times. What are you waiting for? Yes, yourbestsellertoday.com. This time next week, you could have a beautiful seal on your book and get the attention that you deserve. Reach the people that you came to serve. Come on now. What are you waiting for? Grab a pen. Here we go. All you got to do is book a call. yourbestsellertoday.com. Go to yourbestsellertoday.com. Book a talk with Steve. It's proven. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. All you have to do is say yes to your destiny.